years ago when I was walking along the halls in high school and having all the free time in the world as a kid, and then even going away to college to pursue what I thought was my path in life. I didn't realize that I had fallen into this suggestion that we're supposed to have the rest of our lives figured out at the age of 18, or in my case, 17 years old. It's one of those things where everybody's doing it. And for many of us, we can tie our worth into that of who we become. Because who we become is such a big part of everything we do, how we show up in the world, who we are, what we stand for, what type of person we want to be to others. But as the years have gone on and that little girl has grown into a woman, and I've seen just how different life has panned out in comparison to how I thought it would. The only word that I felt for so many years was failure. Why didn't you do the thing that you set out to do? And after graduating from college and trying to figure out the next steps of my life, seeing that clearly those dreams were not going to happen and pan out the way I thought. I didn't end up moving to the big city. In fact, I ended up moving back in with my parents and getting tons of odd jobs that had nothing to do with my degree. So now I'm sitting here with this piece of paper that promised me this life of freedom and this dream, and yet everything kind of felt like a nightmare. It feels so good out here. My phone is gonna die, so I gotta savor some of the battery for the rest of my walk. But the one thing that I keep hearing in my mind replaying is yesterday's fear is tomorrow's accomplishment. More on that. So one day I decided that I was going to pick up and move away from where I had always known and start a new life somewhere different. Not knowing that that one decision would completely change the trajectory of my life. The thing I've learned now that I'm in my 30s is that that one thing that we had our hearts set on, it kind of always sits somewhere in the back of our mind. Even though you're happy and you love the life that God has given you, there's still a piece of you that wonders what if. There might still be a piece of you that feels like you could have done more. And for some of us, maybe it panned out exactly the way you thought. But for most of us, life just does not go exactly as we plan. And that keeps us on our toes, but it can also bring on a lot of anxiety and stress and just feelings of failure and not knowing where to turn. Once you realize that every new season brings a new opportunity for you to write a different chapter of the book that is your life, it's not just one ongoing chapter. Once you realize that sometimes a book may end in your life and you start a new one, and you may not have all of the reasons as to why, you might be left on a cliffhanger. It may be all new characters and you're wondering, well, what happened to? And that's just the way that life goes. But when you're in it, it's hard to accept it on those days when you just don't understand and you don't see clearly what it is that you are being called to do. It's hard to be committed to something when you don't quite see the vision all the way and you don't quite understand what it is that God wants you to do next. There may never be an exact answer to your questions, but one thing is for sure. You are here. You are loved. You are talented. And you have something amazing to offer this world. You are a woman that is full of so much grace. And no matter how much you may want to give up and give in and just stop it all, just know that God's got you.